1958 saw the threat of war erupting in the Middle East. In Cairo, cheering crowds greeted President Kouatly of Syria as he arrived to sign a pact with President Nasser of Egypt, establishing the United Arab League. With Moscow backing, they set about to stir up anti-Western sentiment throughout the Arab countries. A shift in the delicate balance of power could have erupted into the Holocaust of war. Premier Saeed and King Faisal of Iraq met with his brother King Hussein of Jordan to form a bloc against the Red influence. Assassination of the Iraq rulers ended this pact. Hussein of Jordan still stood strong against Nasser and Moscow's threats. Next Arab country to erupt was Lebanon, where pro-Egyptian Muslims attempted to oust President Chamoun's regime. These pictures, made behind rebel lines, show one phase of the fighting during the 5-week uprising. Brother pitted against brother, bitter enemies. A world war threatened. U.S. Marines moved in as President Eisenhower stated the U.S. stand.
I am well aware the landing of United States troops in Lebanon could have some serious consequences. That is why this step was taken only after the most serious consideration and broad consultation. We are not actuated by any hope of material gain or by any emotional hostility against any person or any government. Our dedication is to the principles of the United Nations Charter and to the preservation of the independence of every state.
The U.S. Embassy in Moscow was the target of a carefully planned demonstration to protest the presence of American troops in Lebanon. The Russian police stood by until time for tea and vodka, then broke it up. The Soviets proposed a summit conference on the Mideast, but the U.S. took the matter to the United Nations through its representative Ambassador Lodge.
The territorial integrity of Lebanon is increasingly threatened by insurrection, stimulated and assisted from outside.
1958 saw the end of the Fourth French Republic. Liberals, among them Mendès France, former premier, demonstrated against bringing de Gaulle to power. The general was also opposed by the communists. In the face of civil war, President Coty threatened to resign unless General de Gaulle was called. The war hero, who had been in eclipse in recent years, took over the helm of France with unlimited powers and called for an election. Riots typified France's tangled political history of 2 empires, 3 monarchies, a dictatorship, and 5 republics. Despite communist efforts, the Fifth French Republic was born. Sir Winston and Lady Churchill celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. The stalwart wartime leader, a budding journalist 50 years ago, became a legend in his own lifetime. Field Marshal Montgomery, wartime commander under Churchill, retired. The man who outfoxed General Rommel in the African campaign thus ended a brilliant military career. Russians went to the polls with a wide choice: vote yes or don't vote. But it was Khrushchev who emerged from the welter of red intrigue to rule alone with supreme power after his buddy, Premier Bulganin, was retired. Alaska became the 49th and largest American state. Bought from Russia in 1867 for $7 million, the new state brought a heritage of rich resources to the Union, not the least of which was an end to Texas gags. Quemoy loomed large in the news when the Chinese Reds announced that they were extending their territorial water limits to 12 miles, which took in Quemoy, a bastion in the defense of nationalist Formosa. With 100,000 nationalist soldiers and 50,000 civilians on the island, supplies were brought from Formosa. The island was under a constant barrage of artillery fire from the mainland, but the materials poured in despite the shells. Life went on in the face of the guns across the 2-mile strait. world was saddened by the passing of a great man when Pope Pius XII died. The Pope of Peace, he had led millions of Catholics through an era of crisis, unswerving in his devotion to human rights and the dignity of man. The College of Cardinals met and elected his successor, Cardinal Angelo Roncalli, John the 23rd. He assumed the throne of St. Peter as a year of history-making events drew to a close.